In the spring of 2021, Jinkx Monsoon and Nick Sahoyah recorded a Futurama recap podcast. For reasons unknown, it was never released. These are the raw tapes.
I'm 40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. You know I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. I'm only 40%. Go. 40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast.
Okay, do the intro. Mom, do it.
Hi, I'm Jinkx Monsoon here
Did
with
you write
comedy.
anything down from?
I don't
like, the
have to
last
write
one?
things down. I'm a professional. I
didn't
know
go
how to
that
make
smooth
things
the f-
up.
It just didn't go that smooth the first time. So
Yeah, well,
figured
I was
maybe-
half asleep the first time,
Why?
and that's your fault. You
Wha-
stress me
why?
out so much. You trigger my stress sleep reflexes.
Like a possum.
My reflexes. Yeah.
Like a sleeping
It's my
goat.
body's way of surviving. It's like playing possum.
Okay, well, just go, like, take a running start. You know.
I'm Jinkx Monsoon.
No, like do some. Yeah, give me a trill. That's good.
Kitty.
Okay, good. I think you're ready.
I'm Jinkx Monsoon, and I'm here with Nick Sahoyah, and we're going to
Hello.
review episode 2.
Okay, I don't think you spent enough. You could pause.
Last time you got upset because I spent too much time.
I don't think that happened.
Hi, I'm a drag queen, and over here's some asshole I just met yesterday. We're Jinkx Monsoon and Nick Sahoyah, and this is I'm 40% Podcast, which is a reference to the show that we're reviewing, Futurama.
Bender.
Episode 2 today.
Episode 2.
The series takes off.
Is that what it's called?
The series has landed.
Oh, that's cute.
Episode 2. Oh, that's cute.
I
The
like
first
it.
episode, we never mentioned it, but it's called Space Pilot, which is a double entendre because it's a pilot about a show that takes place in space a lot of the time, but it's also a reference to the Leela's new job she has by the end of the episode, which is a
Do you
space
think
pilot.
every episode goes into space at least for part of it? Or is there an episode of Futurama that's all on Earth?
There's plenty that take place all on Earth.
Interesting, if true.
That's also a line from Futurama.
There's gonna be a lot of
Interesting
those-
if
a lot of
true.
sneaky ones. A lot of sneaky ones getting in there. We have our first cold open because before the Futurama song on the first episode, we
No,
had our
episode 1 had a cold open, but I guess it was more like a prologue.
It's more of a prologue. This is our first Futurama episode in earnest.
In earnest.
Yeah.
I mean, most shows don't get good on episode 1. It takes till episode 2.
Yeah, Tina Fey famously does not like the 30 Rock pilot, which I think is actually a pretty good pilot. But
There's
I
lots of
can see
good
what she's
pilots. There's lots
Lost
of good
is a good
pilots,
pilot.
but they never do
You ever watch
justice how
Lost?
good the show can get. Except
The-
for those mini series, which definitely, if they don't have a good pilot, they've got to have something that hooks you in. But those shows are also normally 40 minutes long to an hour. 22 minutes is hard to squeeze in exposition and get you hooked. They
Did
have
you
to
watch
squeeze in
Lost?
enough. No, I never watched Lost. And
You know who
I'm
you
never
would
gonna
be?
watch it.
You would be the French lady who's the mom of the other French lady who
And
lives
she's
in
like,
the woods.
Sacré bleu, we are
Yeah, I think
lost.
yeah, that's about right. Her name's Danielle.
And she just spends the whole first episode going, Où est là?
She's not in the first episode. She comes up later.
First time she gets lost. She's like,
She wasn't on the plane, Jinkx. She was already on the
Qu'est-ce que où
island.
ici?
There's so many
Qu'est-ce que où
mysteries on this
ici?
island. Can we do the
Je
first
ne
episode of
retrouverai
Lost
pas.
this episode, and then we'll go back to Futurama next week?
No, absolutely not.
So the cold open, they're making eggs?
They're not making eggs. They're watching an instruction.
Oh.
They're watching the commercial for Planet Express.
Yes.
And
How could I
Fry
forget?
asks, "Are there really giant birds like that?" And the professor goes, "Oh, no, that's just graphics and computer animation." And then goes to the kitchen and offers people eggs. And of course, they're giant eggs, and a giant bird hatches from one of them. What I
That
love,
would scare
okay.
me.
This is what I love about animation versus like live action television is the reason why you do an animated show is because you can literally do anything. Like imagine how hokey it would have looked and how expensive it would have been to have a real life professor go into the kitchen and get
A
bitten by
real life professor?
giant-
That's what you're getting hung up on?
Not, I mean, an
It's
actor
not in the
playing-
budget. We can't afford a professor.
I meant an actor playing the professor. And no, they don't have to hire someone with a science degree.
Well, then I'm being
Science
lied to, and I don't want
professorship.
to watch this anymore, is what
That's
I say to that.
What television is. What are you talking about?
You're actually a drag queen. You always play a drag queen, except for that one time when you were at a drag queen at a bar.
Hey, I've played other things.
Like what? Space pirate?
I mean...
She's kind of
Not-
a queen, though.
Not live action things. I've voiced
Yeah.
over other things, which just takes us back to where we began. On AJ and the Queen, oh no. That was
yeah,
such
yeah,
a
yeah.
drag queen.
That was the most, if anything, it's the most drag queen performance you've given.
Nah.
Yeah.
Come
on.
Come on. Would you eat giant eggs? I don't eat regular sized eggs.
I know
like
you don't
eggs.
like eggs. That's a
But
weird
would
thing
you eat a
about
giant
Jinkx.
egg for breakfast?
If it wasn't fertilized, I suppose. That was my issue with
Well,
it.
that
is
was
it seemed to
clearly
be a stillborn
fertilized.
egg. Yeah, or not stillborn, an alive egg. So that was, I don't want that. I don't want to eat Balut. I don't want to eat any fetus or alive baby
Did you know
bird.
fertilized eggs are a delicacy in some places?
I did know
And
that. I've seen Survivor season 2.
I haven't seen Survivor. I haven't seen Lost.
don't know
I wish
shit.
they'd stop. But I've seen Futurama.
You don't know anything about
8
islands.
times through.
You don't know any island-based shows.
Island shows don't hook me. There has to be some element of like either like magic, supernatural element, or set in the future.
What about a peninsula? Would you watch something that took place on a peninsula?
Is New York a peninsula?
No, it's an island.
Well, there you go. I don't hate all island-based shit because I've watched many shows set in New York.
So, like, I was in orchestra when I was a kid in high school.
Me too.
And-
Get over it.
This one time we were playing the Lord of the Rings song, like the score. And it has, like, we only played string instruments in our orchestra. It was not, like,
Then
brass.
that's strings class.
It was called
what I
orchestra,
took.
and then there was band, and band was with, like, woodwinds and brass and such.
I played the double bass because I thought it was the most unique, but also I had to take it home on the bus a lot.
For whatever reason, I was the one who was going to play the bells, the chimes, for the Lord of the Rings thing.
But you said it was only strings.
I know, this was a real novelty. And I don't know why I think I didn't like playing violin. So
Was this when you were really religious?
no, this was after that.
How long were you in high school?
The normal amount of time, 4 years.
And you managed to squeeze in a religious phase and a bells playing phase?
I only played bells on one
And
song.
you came out in high school?
I came out on MySpace in junior year, I want to say. No, I was young. No, I came out on my Resident Evil chat room
Okay.
when I was 15. And then I came out on MySpace when I was like 16 or 17.
You wanna fucking medal?
But anyway, the boy I had a crush on got assigned to play the drums. So he sat next to me.
So, because that's why you volunteered to play the chimes, is because you get to sit next to your crush.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I brought it up is I did play the Futurama thing on the chimes. But I started thinking about that
in
boy.
Overwatch.
Mm-hmm. On the bells in
bells.
Dorado. I do know this.
El Dorado.
It's a good theme song. It's a good
It
intro.
slaps. I said it before
Mom,
and I'll say it again. It slaps.
I'm gonna edit that out.
You can't edit out my hip lingo.
Okay. So the episode begins after the song, and Hermes.
As episodes are wont to do.
And I like how Hermes is kind of introduced like a little unceremoniously. He's just like walking up and like opening up shop. I love, this is what I was saying a little bit in the first episode, is season 1 has a different vibe. It is an indica season. It is very chill.
It is a lot more chill than future seasons.
There's long pauses.
But I like the more frantic seasons.
I agree.
Seasonings and pleasonings.
But this does put me in a very specific mood that not even really like season 2 or 3 will put me in. It's like, I want to go to sleep when I watch season 1 of Futurama.
It is a very different vibe. I think it's also just like I said, it's indicative of animated shows before the 2000s, because The Simpsons is a much slower, chiller vibe, but pre-2000. And though I loathe to admit, I watched Family Guy. Family Guy's the same story.
I remember in high school theater class, because remember, like, Adult Swim used to have syndicated episodes of Futurama and Family Guy, and they would play.
Yeah, but not when we were in high school.
Yes. This is why I bring it up.
Yes.
This is important.
No, it was mostly just, in high school, it was mostly just home movies and Birdman Coast to Coast.
I'm not, why are you gaslighting me? I'm telling you a fact from my life, and you're telling me
I think it happened in college, not high school.
I'm telling you a specific story, and you won't even listen to it.
Maybe it happened.
All of the boys in the theater class liked Family Guy, and I liked Futurama, and that's when I knew I was gay.
Shut up.
And we talked about them because they would air at 10:30 and at 11 on Adult Swim, and occasionally they would invert them, and it would make me mad because I liked watching David Letterman, which started at 11:30. I'm not making this up.
Futurama didn't get on Adult Swim till much later.
I'm talking about 2006. It was already canceled. It wasn't airing on Fox. You are wrong.
I don't know, dude.
Well, you don't know, and you really made a point of telling me I was wrong.
Dave's not here, man.
What happens next in the episode, Mom?
After the theme song? Well, they start the episode, Nick.
Talk about it. God, I have to do everything on this podcast. I produce.
We meet Hermes Conrad. We meet Dr. Zoidberg, who is either a giant lobster or a giant crab, and it just changes whenever they feel like it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they make crab jokes. Sometimes they make lobster jokes. We meet Amy Wong, who is a very rich Martian. Her family owns Mars.
Yeah. I feel like I relate. I bounce between relating to Fry and relating to Amy.
That tracks for you.
And I feel like you're a Leela Mom rising.
I don't have that much in common with Mom other than my my general attitude towards everything.
Your momness.
But I definitely relate to Leela, even though I'm not an orphan. You know, it's a Cinderella story somewhere in there.
So I do like the way we're introduced to everyone, sets up their bits really well. I think Dr. Zoidberg is one of the funniest cartoon characters.
How'd your physical go? The doctor says I'm as healthy as a crab.
It's just really funny to have a bad doctor because they're supposed to be good.
Dr. Zoidberg is an amalgam of a lot of things. He is like a Jerry Lee Lewis ripoff, while also being like a Jewish stereotype, like the Jewish doctor. Also a vaudeville Borscht Belt comedian.
Yeah, he loves
all of these things at once.
The comedy.
He's like Charlie Chaplin, Mel Brooks, and also Jerry Lee Lewis all in one.
Isn't Jerry Lee Lewis the piano guy?
No, he's who Professor Frink is based off of.
Who's that guy? Jerry Lee Lewis.
Maybe he played piano. No.
What's his name? Jerry's Kids. I know what you're talking about.
Jerry's Kids. Is that the same Jerry?
Yes,
Too
it
many
is.
Jerrys.
Too many Jerrys. Too many Jerrys.
Like, when someone
many
gets
Jerrys.
famous with a name, it should be, like, mandatory that the next person with that name who wants to be famous has to come up with a new name. But we'd run out of names soon, and you'd start getting celebrities named, like, Glorky Flip Flap.
I don't like this. This isn't a good riff. So they're flying to the moon.
Why do you get to decide what's a good riff?
Because I'm the producer.
Since when?
You put me in charge of this project.
Biggest mistake I've ever made.
They go to the moon. I have a question about they go to the moon, and there's a funny joke where Fry's like, I want to count down from 10, and then they get there before he can even start
says
counting.
9. Because
So-
they're very advanced.
Yes. Here's my question, though. I have a lot of questions.
The moon isn't that far away.
Is it night? No, that doesn't matter. That's not important. I know that it's not that far away, but why are there no other ships? Like, they're flying out of New York. It's seemingly a hub. Isn't there some sort of traffic control? There's a lot of people in line when they get to the amusement park. Why aren't there any other ships?
There's only 22 minutes in an episode. And if it's that quick to get there, then most of the ships, there's not going to be a lot of traffic unless everyone's going at the same time.
Yeah, I guess.
It takes a second to get to the moon. So, like, why would there be traffic? Everyone's like, pew, moon.
Okay. And I guess the computers make it so they don't crash into each other or something.
The computers do everything in the future.
Okay. We could move on then.
You think Leela's ever flown a spaceship before?
Well, no, she has. Because she says she can in the first episode. She says, I can.
As long as you don't ask me to parallel park.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, like, how many times has she flown a spaceship before? Or is it in the future it's just like driving a car because the computers do everything?
Well, maybe it's like driving like a Mack truck. You just have to get like a special, like
that
a
must
clearance.
be it, like a Class X license. X for space.
We cleared that up.
So Amy is given a small amount of responsibility and she screws up.
Yeah, which is so Amy. She's the ditz. That's kind of her.
The thing is
bit.
Amy is portrayed as both the ditz, but when necessary, she's also a genius.
She's very smart. And spoiler alert, she kind of saves the day in this episode, so she's very capable.
Yes, and I really like the voice actor who plays Amy because she also voiced Khan and Min in King of the Hill.
Oh, I didn't know that. I like that.
The actor's name is Lauren Tom, and she's a wonderful voice actor. She voices King of the Hill and then Futurama, and I think that might be it.
I might finally rewatch some King of the Hill. There's some real classics.
King of the Hill
there.
I just recently rewatched, and it's a very funny show.
I feel like it gets a bad rap because it's so like hokey, but like purposefully so. But it's like very
it's
funny.
about a conservative family in a conservative part of the world, in a conservative part of the country, but really what all they do all day is like learn to be liberal.
Yeah. Did you like Beavis and Butthead?
No.
It's so funny. Not even the movie.
It gave me the creeps.
The movie's so funny though. I like America.
I like Beavis and Butthead.
Do you remember King of the Hill was in it? He was like the neighbor, and they like harassed him.
Yeah, because they were both created by Mike Judge.
Mm-hmm.
But Beavis and Butthead gives me the creeps, and I have friends who don't like King of the Hill because the animation is too close to Beavis and Butthead, and it makes them feel uncomfortable. So Amy screws up her big responsibility. She she drops the keys in the crate that they deliver.
It's the keys to the spaceship?
Yeah, it's the keys to the spaceship.
Oh, okay. That's
So they
funny.
get locked out of the spaceship, and she doesn't realize until the crate has been delivered. And of course, a big thing is that they realize, well, Fry realizes that the moon has been turned into a cheesy, crappy amusement park, which is wildly popular because the line goes on forever.
Yeah, but they talk about it like it's like kind of past its
Sherwood
prime.
Forest.
Yeah, but it seems to be doing
Like
quite
a
well.
local amusement park, not a chain,
There's demand.
not a Six
Yeah.
Flags or a Disney, but like a Yogi's Enchanted Meadow.
Yeah, I guess if you could pretty quickly get to like another planet where you can breathe and shit, like going to the moon wouldn't be that exciting.
So
Oh, they have Whalers of the Moon. Whalers of the Moon is my favorite thing.
you're
in the
skipping so
episode.
far ahead.
What? What did we miss?
Well, we missed for some reason humanity has lost all education on the moon and has just made up their own idea of how the human race made it to the moon.
Why don't they have records of it?
Because the planet Earth was destroyed in the opening credits.
That's true. I forgot. But I do love when they do stuff like that because I think about how wrong we probably are when we like imagine Victorian
Well,
England.
if you go back and watch The Twilight Zone,
Which one?
They like hypothesize what things would be like in like 1990 or 2010, and it's like people are fully just part cyborg and like,
Hey, isn't
and
that
I'm looking around
isn't that
and
the
I'm
fucking
thinking,
truth, man? We're all fucking cyborgs, man.
can't
We're all just fucking
disconnect me
slaves to the
from
machine,
my
man.
phone. My phone is my brain. My brain is a toaster. My heart beats for knowledge. Can we say cunt on our show? We haven't.
We can
talked
say
about that
anything,
yet.
you fucking bitch.
Shut your cunt. So they're on the moon. There's wild misinformation about the moon. Fry, of course, is like we said, is very excited to be on the moon. It's very blasé to Leela, but this is the brilliant trope. I mean, this is the brilliant like device of making Fry from our era, is because Fry is experiencing the future similar to how we would. So we get to live in the future through Fry's eyes, and he can relate to us as being from whatever
Fry's
century we're in, or it was in when it was
Fry's
released.
eyes.
Through Fry's eyes.
Realize Fry's eyes. Do you remember that poem?
No.
Realize Fry's eyes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's so funny if you knew what I was talking about.
So it's not.
Just you gotta trust me on this one. Can you give me a laugh? We'll edit it together.
Fry's eyes. Nick, you card.
Good. Yeah, I'll edit around that. Can we talk about Whalers of the Moon now?
Yes.
We're Whalers of the Moon. We carry
a harpoon, but there ain't no whale, so we tell tall tales.
while we sing a whaling tune.
While we sing a whaling tune.
It's really funny. It makes me laugh every time. They have a nice rule of threes with it.
Yes.
Fungineering degree.
I don't see you with a degree in fungineering. I'm going to start saying that to you when you, question me.
When I correctly call up your bullshit.
Call up my bullshit?
Call out. It was a stumble of words.
Hello. You've reached Jinkx's bullshit. Please leave your complaints after the beep. The mailbox belonging to Jinkx's bullshit is full. Goodbye.
All right, I'm going to admit that was a home run bit. And I'm proud of you. But we're going to move on. I don't want
Fry
you to get a big
uses
head.
the harpoon of one of the whalers to get the little buggy off the track, and they start exploring the real moon. And Fry wants to find the original moon landing site and the lunar lander, and Leela exposits that it's been lost for centuries. Now, I'd like to talk about this for a second because it's been lost for centuries, yet they've colonized the moon, but it seems like they've just colonized little dots around the moon. They don't really care about most of the moon. They built the theme park. They built one farm, and that's it.
Oh my God, the farm. Okay, so we should talk about the farm.
They get to a farm on the moon when they run out of oxygen. Because Leela
because they had to escape
them.
from a crater because Leela's very ingenuitive. She has a fungineering degree.
Fry drove him into a crater, and we learn about Fry's demeanor by the fact that 2 different times Fry goes, "We're doomed! Every man for himself!" and tries to run away and can't, and then calls for help from Leela. You know what I do like about this show is Leela is a very strong feminine character. She's a very strong female character voiced by an iconically strong and verbal
Did you
iconically in charge woman, Katie Seagal.
Hey, did you ever do you know that she acted on that show about the motorcycles?
American Angels or whatever.
No, it's like a show.
Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy.
She's like the mom on that.
Yeah, she basically just plays moms.
And
That's like what she's famous. She's a famous TV mom.
Spoilers for Sons of Anarchy. I've only seen one episode of it because my roommate used to watch it, and it was literally just Katie Seagal and like Charlie Hunnam is her son, and he like shoots her in the head. That's all I know from the show.
Wow. Does she survive?
No, she's dead. He like kills her, and it's like a big important episode. But I had never seen any of it.
Dies?
I had never seen any of it. All I know is that Katie Seagal gets shot in the head by her son.
Have you seen the Disney original movie Smart Home with Katie Seagal playing a computer program? Smart House.
It's not a smart home because they would be comfortable at a smart home. It's a smart house because they're being terrorized by the AI.
And then I think Katie Seagal hosted a reality show for looking for TV's next mom. TV's funniest mom, or like,
no way.
TV's America's Next TV Mom or something.
Well, we should do that show next. We'll just do all of Katie Seagal.
We'll just do the full body of work of Katie Seagal. And now, this is real interesting. Katie Seagal is now written into The Connors, replacing the Roseanne character.
What? She's the new mom?
Yes.
Peg Bundy is on Roseanne?
She's dating.
It's like the Avengers Endgame.
She's dating Dan
TV
Connor.
families.
She's not Peg Bundy. Her name is Louise, but she dates Dan Connor now because they killed off Roseanne.
Get Fran Drescher in there.
Get Fran Drescher in there. We gotta get we gotta get Suzanne Summers in there.
Wait, who's that?
She was the mom on Step by Step.
Oh, okay. I never watched that.
We gotta get
There was no mom on Full House. That was the whole thing.
Uncle Joey, though. We can get Uncle Joey
we'll have
back.
one guy.
So, Katie Seagal, strong, independent woman throughout her entire career.
Is there a drag queen named after Katie Seagal? What would the name be?
Katie this tall. Katie plain and tall.
Okay, so we're at the farm. It's really funny because he says oxygen.
Katie Seagal, and she's
a bird.
She's an avian themed drag queen.
No, that's Crystal Method's thing. We can't take that from her. She's already got that.
She's a bird? Is that her backstory? Crystal
Did
Method
you not see the finale of
Yeah, I know she was
Drag
a
Race
bird
season
then,
12?
but is she always a bird? Is she supposed to be different?
What
types
other
of
thing would I be
birds
talking about? Why would I bring up Crystal Method
Well,
and
it's not
birds
an ongoing...
and be talking about something other than that?
No, I'm talking about Katie Seagal, a drag queen who's always a seagull.
All right, I'll allow it.
Kind of like the bird from Chuck E. Cheese's, which used to haunt my dreams, Birdie.
There was a bird there?
Yes.
Man, if there was a robot cat, I would go, if I was a robot cat, I would go to Chuck E. Cheese because there's
And
robot
there was a
mice.
bird in
There's
the
robot
McDonald's,
and a bird.
zeitgeist. What
there
is
was
it about
not.
these? Yes, huh?
Grimace.
Birdo. Birdie. They were all named Birdie.
What are you
There's a
talking
bird
about?
everywhere. It's like a yellow bird. Okay, so there's Ronald McDonald, Grimace, the Hamburglar, and Birdie. And then at Chuck E. Cheese, there's Chuck E. Cheese. There's that hillbilly dog. There's the weird purple monster, which is just like Grimace.
Grimace.
And then there's a bird, and she's like based on Tina Turner, I think.
I don't
Her
believe
name's
any of
like
this.
Beaky Birdie. Chick Uddy.
We see the Three Beautiful Robot Daughters, which is a great play on the Three Beautiful.
Now you can sleep in the barn, but don't you go a touching my beautiful robot daughters. There's Lulubelle 38.
Yoo-hoo!
There's Annibot Marie 5000.
Yoo-hoo!
And there's the Crushinator.
Yoo-hoo!
The Crushinator becomes one of my favorite recurring characters.
Yeah, she comes back a lot. She's in some of my favorite
We
episodes.
can't get enough Crushinator.
Also first appearance of the Crushinator, but also first appearance of Bugalo. They are also on the moon.
Yeah, what I love about Futurama when they introduce future-y things is it's always got some element of like horrifyingness. Like if we hadn't gotten crash landed on the moon, if we hadn't gotten stranded on the moon, we never would have met these little guys. And Fry pats the Bugalo, and the Bugalo goes. They're just really comfortable with the horrors of the future.
You'd have to get used to it, I suppose. Win in Rome, as they say.
When in your room.
I was South African.
When in your room. Okay, I'll do an accent and you guess where I'm from.
Okay.
No, I don't think this is good. This is a bad path to go down.
How come the barn is made out of glass? Did they set that up? Because it
it's
seems
the
like it's.
moon. Because it's the moon.
But
and
the house
future.
isn't made. The farmhouse isn't made out of glass. Why is the barn glass? Just for the gag of Bender hiding in the barn and it's clear?
Well, I don't know.
People
They
who
must
live
have
in
really
glass
thought
barns.
about it because they must have really thought about it because
Minnesota.
they wrote a joke in just to. They wrote a joke in about Bender hiding behind a glass door, so they must have had a big meeting about the barn being made out of glass.
I suppose.
They were like, well, I got this idea about Bender hiding behind something glass, but then we'd need something glass for him to hide behind. Well, the barn can be made of glass. It's the future. No one's going to ask questions.
Unless there's a podcast 20 years from now. What's a
Hosted by
podcast,
couple
boss?
Of, like just complete losers in their basements during a quarantine.
Yes, and they
future's
can't go
nuts.
outside.
There's
They
one
need a
thing
mask
I
to
know
go
about
outside.
the future after writing Futurama is that the future's just a crazy place.
It's pretty weird that they never did a pandemic episode. There is that episode where there's like the common cold from the past comes back. But that's the
Yeah,
closest
that's a
thing I can
pandemic
think of.
episode.
But they contain it, so it's
But they
not
don't,
a
though.
pandemic by definition.
But they don't contain it.
Oh, you're right. I forgot.
Like
Spoilers
your
for
whole-
season 8, episode 9.
I can't imagine anyone would be listening to this if they haven't already seen all of Futurama. Because
This
I
isn't
mean,
a
I
good
know,
Introduction to Futurama. It absolutely isn't.
yeah, no, you should have watched it by now. It's like when people come to see Peaches and I do our Grey Gardens parody show. Now, it's a parody show based on a documentary about two very eccentric people. And the documentary itself jumps all over the place, and you kind of got to know the backstory for the documentary to make any sense. Now, imagine never having seen the film the documentary or the Drew Barrymore film about the documentary, and then coming to see me and Peaches, who are not only doing a parody of the documentary, but also working in a bunch of drag jokes that only make sense if you're fans of us. So you just sit there for an hour watching a show that makes no sense unless you get every single reference. And we get people coming up to us every time we do that show going, I really enjoyed myself. I didn't know what was going on because I've never seen the documentary or a show with either of you in it, but I really enjoyed myself. And what could that experience have been for that person? Just like an hour of me and Peaches going, give me the corn, Jinxie. No, drag mother, darling.
I will say I saw Peach's version of Gremlins, which was called Femlins. Which was
but you've seen
Detox
the movie
and
Gremlins. You haven't?
Mm-mm.
Well, the plot of Gremlins at least makes sense when you watch the show. The plot of us doing Grey Gardens is just us doing Grey Gardens.
But that plot
Just
makes sense. It's just you standing around in a
it's
house.
one of Peaches' most complicated plots, too, because it's set 40 years in
That's
the future
true.
when we've been doing the Grey Gardens show. So it's both a parody of Grey Gardens and it's us doing a show about Grey Gardens 40 years in the future.
I'm sorry
a
if
lot of
that
things all at
audio is
once.
picking up. My next door neighbor is like listening to a woman be murdered in some sort of murder movie.
Some people are so weird.
I love horror movies. I should be judging. It's all I've been watching.
I have to pee so bad. I thought I could hold
Just
it
do it
till
in
the end of the
do
episode.
it in your mouth.
I'm not gonna pee upwards into my mouth. I'll be right back.
I didn't say upwards. You could get upside down.
Have I ever told you my plan for a production of Sweeney Todd set in a post-apocalyptic future?
We have to talk about the episode.
It's about the future.
I don't care though. We've been this is too long a tangent. Producer hat.
Beetle
producer
Bamford
hat.
would be an actual beetle.
It's very fun.
A mutated beetle man.
Bender has slept with the Crushinator, or at least romanced her, because she's a fine lady.
No, he says you can't just sleep with a lady that fine.
He said you
gotta
can't
romance
just.
her a little bit. You're right.
He said you can't
Because
just, so he
by
fucked
the
her.
time they're
He fucked her ass.
he fucked the other two robots so far, and he did it very
Wait, how do
quickly
you know?
'cause-
How do you figure that? Do you see him fucking them?
No, because because the farmer starts chasing after him and says, I'll teach you for touching my robot daughters. He says daughters.
Okay.
But then when Fry asks if he
Objection
slept with the
withdrawn.
Crushinator, Bender says, no, you got to romance a lady, that fine. But the Crushinator has had some interaction with Bender because when they try to chase them down, the Crushinator won't pursue them because she says, no, Pa, I love him.
Bender must have like worked out her shit.
Or the Crushinator like watched Bender bang her robot sisters and fell in love with him through that.
Yeah, that tracks.
More taboo things have happened in life
They escape on a moon buggy.
than
with
a robot
Confederate-
watching her robot sisters get banged by a robot stranger on the moon.
They escape on a
That's not
moon
even
buggy.
the most taboo thing on Pornhub these days.
I'm gonna mute you real quick. I actually can mute you. That's so wonderful. You're muted. Okay. Okay. You're back. You're back. That was fun, though.
Butthead.
Well, you wanted me to be the producer, and this is how it's gonna work.
I didn't want you to be the producer. It just was kind of a necessity because I
You
have
call
a lot
me
on
Nikki
my plate.
Producy.
I have a lot on my plate. No, I call you Little Nicky in reference to the Adam Sandler movie.
I hate that.
Oh, hush, hush now, Little Nicky.
That's like the one early Adam Sandler movie I've never seen. And I remember
I've never seen it either.
Then why are you referencing it?
I reference a lot of things I've never seen.
Well, you remind me of You Don't Mess with the Zohan.
I've seen parts of that.
Why?
It was on cable TV in the hotel
Ugh.
room I was in.
I want to barf. That's how I feel right now. They escape on a moon buggy with a Confederate flag on the front, which is dark but accurate.
Prescient.
Yes.
It's like there's this one.
The moon. The farmer guy was kind of wearing like a MAGA hat too. It was like
it was The Moon Will Rise Again. Which is
a
reference
southern...
to The South Will Rise Again, which. I mean,
racist.
It's like potato, Klans member racist. It's all part of one quilt.
Oh, most quilts are good. This is a quilt I do not want.
This is the quilt of white supremacy in America, and there's many patches.
Too many
but they're
patches.
all part of the same blanket. And they're all trying to put out the blanket that's trying to put out the fires of freedom.
Wait, fires are good.
In this metaphor, yes.
Okay, confusing.
Put out the flame of
But I think
freedom.
It's just a Dukes of Hazzard thing, because they do like kind of a Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, but I don't... That. I'm not here for any justification for like why someone has a Confederate
I'm not saying
flag.
It's good.
It's like
I'm saying that's what the bit is.
I saw a Grindr profile once where it was like there was a Confederate flag in the background, and his bio said, "Yes, that's a Confederate flag in the background. I don't care. I took this picture at my friend's house. It's his flag, and I thought I looked cute." And it's like, take another picture, you asshole.
That's too much. That person should...
The justification for it was that he looked cute in the picture. And never again, I guess,
Just
because no other picture ever replaced this Confederate flag picture.
It's the one time I look cute. I don't know what to say.
What can I do? The Confederate flag just happened to be in the background of the one picture of me that exists where I look cute.
So they jump over the pit, and there's like alligators in little space helmets that jump up and try to bite them, which is very funny.
Yeah, and what are those space helmets connected to? This is cartoon logic that, like, as long as you're wearing a space helmet, it doesn't matter what it's connected to. You could just
put a fishbowl on your head
forever
and you
in a fishbowl.
Swim down to the Mariana Trench,
and you just continue to recycle that air. Oh, that reminds me. There's a line with the hick farmer on the moon, the hick moon farmer, and he says, "You think oxygen grows on trees?" Oxygen don't grow on trees. But that's like, yes, it does.
They escape and find the original moon landing sites.
Which was really easy to find for them, even though it's been lost for centuries. It was just right there. They just had to take a left at the moon farm and just go for about a minute, and it's there.
I did have a good laugh when Neil Armstrong's footprint had been preserved for 1,000 years and Fry stepped on it and it was a Nike swoosh.
Hey, it's Neil Armstrong's footprint, and then just immediately stomps on. And look, it's that flag from MTV.
Also a good line. Bender has 2 times where he says blackjack and hookers. That's a funny thing. But also the professor says, "But I am already in my pajamas," which he said in the first episode, and never since.
Which seems like a catchphrase that they were gonna start and then just like let go of it.
Well, this is why this lends credence to my theory that episodes 1 and 2 are meant to be watched together. They've got running gags that exist only within these 2 episodes.
Which strengthens my theory that this debuted on the Super Bowl.
I don't we could easily Google it, and instead of Googling it, we're gonna argue about it on episode 3 because no one remembered to Google it.
Take it from a person who watched a lot of the Fox network as a kid. Why is the Fox network known for being taboo and raunchy, but Fox News is known for being a bunch of conspiracy theories and idiocy?
Do you want me to give you a serious answer to that question? Because I have it, but...
How come Fox Network drives their car like this?
So Amy comes and saves the day. They have like a big sad argument in front of the Moonlander where Fry comes to terms with the future being shitty.
Yeah, but Leela comes to terms with the fact that there's still things that are quite beautiful about the future. And it's kind of exactly like what happens in my new holiday special with Ben de la Creme.
Oh,
the
my God.
Jinkx and Dela holiday special.
Oh, My God. She's cross-promoting.
Do you know Dayla and I did 2 Christmas-themed movies this year for some reason? For years and years. We're in Happiest Season, the Clea Duvall, Kristen Stewart film on Hulu.
Oh, I saw an ad for that.
I'll play you.
No, I don't want to edit this out. We're already at an hour. This is going to be on the cutting room floor, so you can tell me later.
Okay, I'll just send you the clip we're in.
Let's wrap it up.
Thanks to Amy having to get so good at the claw machine to get the keys back, she's now very good at picking things up with a claw. And she picks up Bender first, triggering the magnets screw with his inhibition unit.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the magnets because this comes back. This is the first There's a lot of firsts in this episode.
There's a lot of firsts in the second episode.
Because every time... There's a lot of Bender getting a magnet on him, and sometimes, not all the time, he sings folk songs.
Yeah, not all the time, but for the most part, he sings folk songs.
You know what's... I know we said in the promo that the Yeti episode is the worst episode, but do you know what's the second worst episode?
When Bender joins Beck's band?
No, that one's awesome.
Well, then why are you bringing... I mean, that's the episode we were talking about, right?
I know,
With
but
magnets?
There's an episode in, like, season, like, very near the end where they were just out of shit to do, and Bender, like, becomes a folk singer.
That is the worst one. And all
It's
the
so
songs
bad.
that Bender sings become real.
Yeah, it's terrible. And they keep
It's
saying,
really
like, there's this
terrible.
amazing twist at the end, which they didn't have to say. They could have just, not promised anything.
It's a bad episode. But that's so far ahead. We're still on the moderately good episodes.
Yeah, we go from moderately good to the best television ever made. And then the movies are weird but fun. And then it's a real crapshoot after that.
It's like, it's a Futurama roulette. Like every third episode is a throwaway.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the third episode because I feel like episode 1 and 2 is just so much exposition.
Yes.
And episode 3 is when we start to just get into the everyday life of these characters in the future.
Oh, and we're going to have a special guest on episode 3 of our show.
Yeah.
Do you want to announce that now?
TBA, because we got to secure a special guest. Oh, who is it? You secured it.
Say it at the same time.
I want to see if you know who it is first.
3.
I don't know who it is. I really don't know who it is.
RuPaul.
You're an asshole. Can you imagine?
RuPaul's going to be on episode 3.
Can you imagine? There's no way in hell she's ever seen even one episode of Futurama.
She hasn't seen a show including Drag Race that was made after the year 1995.
Including Drag Race. But the things that happened before 1995, she knows every reference.
Every
to.
word.
She has a catalogic memory
Encyclopedic,
of all,
you dumb shit.
Encyclopedic of all.
I hate you so much. This episode's over already.
If you enjoyed this episode of I'm 40% Podcast, be sure to spread the word about subscribing to my Jinkx Monsoon Patreon page. And we'll be back with you whenever we come back for episode 3 of
With RuPaul Andre Charles.
I'm 40% Podcast, the first ever queer Futurama podcast, because someone had to do it.